One of the most common questions I've gotten about Super Mario Bros. Wonder modding is to what extent we can customize or even just utilize wonder effects. I guess people see all the crazy stuff that happens during some wonder effects, and just presume they must be some kind of programming and level design nightmare behind the scenes. But as I've previously explained, no, there is nothing special about wonder effects when it comes to their integration into levels or the game's code. But instead of just telling you guys that, let me prove it to you. Let's do some experiments to see to what extent we can swap, edit, and even customize wonder effects. Oh, by the way, I'm going to say the word wonder about 1,000 times in this video. When I messed with the player physics recently, I actually had an idea that would result in something kind of close to a custom wonder effect. Like I explained last week, the physics file for the player's jump not only contains values for the player's normal and floaty jumps, but also for metal variations of both. So we can simply increase these metal jump velocity values to create a sort of custom high jump wonder effect. If we check this out in game, yeah, here we go. Even though it doesn't make a lot of logistical sense considering the player is made of metal, we now have a wonder effect that gives us a super high jump. It actually feels kind of weird the way we jump super high, but the rest of the player physics are still the default Metal Mario stuff. It's kinda contradictory. Though I'm sure something like this could be polished to the point where it feels completely natural. Like, just imagine a higher jump effect being used in a space section. It could be like newer Super Mario Bros. Wii's space physics, but as a wonder effect. Although some wonder effects require a lot of complicated combinations of objects, links, and stuff like that to function properly, there are a few that basically work completely on their own without any kind of crazy surrounding setups. In fact, I suppose before we move on, I should probably explain how wonder effects work in general. Every wonder effect has three key components: the wonder flower, the wonder tag, and the wonder seed. The wonder flower is a pretty simple object on its own. All it does is send a signal to the wonder tag object once it's been collected. That tag object isn't something that physically appears in the level, it's just a bunch of code that handles settings and signals for the wonder effect, the most important of which is a value which controls what wonder effect actually gets triggered. The wonder tag object also sends out signals to whichever object should get placed or destroyed when the wonder effect is active, like these blocks that get deleted here. One of those objects that gets triggered, of course, is the Wonder Seed, and once you collect it, the Wonder effect gets deactivated and all the objects that got placed get deleted, and vice versa. The interesting thing is that a lot of Wonder effects purely rely on other objects that get triggered by the tag, instead of some effect that's applied to the player. These effects have a player Wonder type of 0. Like the moving pipes in 1-1, these are all just handled by signals that get sent from the Wonder tag to each pipe. There is no overarching effect. And because of that, we can actually add a Wonder effect on top of 1-1's already existing Wonder effect. For example, by simply changing the player Wonder type of 1-1's effect, we can make it trigger the top-down Wonder effect on top of 1-1's moving pipe gimmick. We can actually quite easily trigger any kind of overarching Wonder effect like this in any level. For example, I managed to trigger the slippery wonder effect that originally shows up in World 5 in 1-3. Apparently that effect has nothing to do with the ground collision and just makes any surface you touch slippery. This also demonstrates how the raining star effect in 1-3 works, because even though I changed the overarching wonder effect, the raining stars still showed up as well, meaning that's a separate object that gets triggered by the wonder tag. In fact, it seems like we can make the wonder tags trigger basically anything. Like here, just to see if it would work, I made the wonder flower in 1-1 spawn, well, a giant Goomba that falls down from the sky. That might not seem that significant, but just think of the possibilities. Sure, I guess we could make a wonder section where the player gets chased down by a giant Goomba or something like that, but the big picture here is that we can make a wonder effect do basically anything using this technique. Just as another little proof of concept, I did something pretty interesting using invisible barriers. As far as I'm aware, invisible barriers are mostly used in places where it makes a lot of sense in the original game, like to stop you from jumping over the flagpole or to make sure you can't walk off of background walls. But we can take advantage of the weirdness of invisible barriers and the fact that they, like anything else, can be spawned by a wonder effect to make a custom wonder effect where you can walk on water. Okay, so I just put a wonder flower at the start of this random level to check this out, and yeah, there we go, we're walking on water as a wonder effect. This honestly feels exactly like the kind of wonder effect that we could have had in the original game. In fact, the cool thing about these invisible barriers is that enemies don't interact with them, so I can imagine some really cool setups being made with this. Oh right, we can even shoot fireballs down through the water as well. I suppose that's also pretty neat. Now, you might be wondering why I'm only doing sort of random proof of concept stuff for now, when I could also demonstrate these ideas by making full-on custom levels that feature these custom wonder effects. Well, on top of getting a bit distracted by Mario Kart 8 stuff this week, I don't know if we're at the point yet where making levels is really worth the time investment due to how primitive the level editor still is. Though speaking of which, at least there is a level editor now, because alpha builds of the Fushigi level editor have started releasing over the past week. Although I haven't spent that much time using it yet, it's definitely exciting to know how much more accessible custom level creation now is for many people. Though for now, even using Fushigi, making levels is still quite tedious and time consuming, partially due to how limited and obviously unfinished Fushigi is, and partially because there is still basically zero documentation when it comes to how parts of any given level actually work. So although this is definitely better than this, it's probably gonna take a while before making Wonder levels will be anywhere near as accessible as making levels for most other 2D Mario games. And that's totally fine because, remember, the game came out like 3 weeks ago. If you're interested in keeping up with the development of Fushigi or Super Mario Bros. Wonder modding in general, I'd recommend joining the Wonderland Discord server linked in the description. And wait a minute, I have one more edited Wonder effect to showcase. I edited the quiz effect that appears in World 5. Let's see what the question is. What is the best way of supporting Rimea and keeping up with his future Wonder modding videos? Well, liking the video and leaving a comment on the video are both fantastic answers, but I'm gonna go with subscribing to the channel. And hey, that's correct. I don't know whether that's the most creative or cringy plug I've ever done. Maybe both. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching, see you later, and bye bye!